actually from the National Assembly. In 2014, the Security Laws Amendment Act was passed, which was a controversial piece of legislation that allowed the state to do so many things. Now, what we are seeing now could be a direct result of that. Madam Chege, you do agree that MPs have contributed to a great deal to some of this misuse of the laws by successive regimes to try and counter dissent. And this is not just a problem of this current administration. And I'm quoting the Security Laws Amendment Act of 2014.
I would say might be guilty as charged, because what happens really, I'm happy to hear Honorable Gakuya, the way he's speaking today and how he spoke might be before 2022. And sometimes when you're on the other side, you are easy to criticize, you are easy to even pass laws that may seem to favor the side might be of divide where you are at that specific point. And I think what we need is sober leadership.
Is that what happened? That some of you favored that security amendment laws back then because of the side you're with?
In Parliament, when laws are passed, it all depends with the majority support. It might be the lobbying and what is the moral or rationale behind the passing of that law. For instance, if we say today the president is very harsh, president is supposed to protect his people. You've seen what has happened. I think during all the regimes, if you look at the Mois, the Kenyatta, the first coming to Kibaki, we've never gone to a level of anarchy that we have seen. We've never gotten to a level where you see people going to break shops, you know, carrying TV, fridge, burning police stations. I don't think we have ever gotten here. And so I actually I sympathize with the president, because he also has a right to protect his people. He has a right to protect all Kenyans. And remember that we already maybe have around 150 police officers, and they are supposed to take care of almost 52 million Kenyans. So even ourselves as parliament, and as we criticize, because it is very easy to criticize, and you know, being in opposition is very nice, because you can say how things are supposed to be done, because you're not taking any responsibility. But I think we need to call ourselves into order. And that's why I started with asking, with this law, is it being misused? And if yes, what can Parliament do? And having a very sober discussion. And I think the worst part of what we have done is that we sometimes maybe follow the side of divide where we are, not forgetting that this can favor us today, and then tomorrow it will come back and eat us. And we should have a very sober discussion on what is really eating Kenya. Mm-hmm. What is the main problem? Is the problem the activists? Is the problem the huge number of our youth who have no jobs? You know, is the problem unemployment? Is the problem the cost of living? Then how do we address these matters? Because as long as we bury our heads into the sun, in the sand, as long as we do not address the issues that are pushing Kenyans to the corner, you'll find that generally, even at home, you'll find kids are now much more aggressive than we were before. I think at our times, you could not have asked our parents any question. You know, now you tell your child something and they will ask you why. Why do you want me to do it, or why not? You understand? At our time, those things never existed. So we are facing different times, different challenges, and we need to take matters one by one and ask ourselves, what is our role? If it's the judiciary, what is their role? If it's parliament, if it's the executive, what is their role? Because as long as we keep on pointing fingers, we will not move. We will keep on going back and forth. And the blame game is not going to help, because I believe the president doesn't work alone. He's only one individual. Yeah. Let me just finish. That the president has people who work under him. He has a set of advisors. He has ministers. Even like the docket we are now discussing, the docket of security, there's a minister who is entitled, who is supposed to be there, you know, taking care of that docket. So the president is one, who is only one Kenyan, who got the privilege of every other Kenyan, or majority of Kenyans, giving him the privilege to lead the nation. But is he a know-it-all? Not really. I'm
laying the blame squarely on legislators. And
I would say, and because I wouldn't want to say the blame squarely on the legislators.
You're the ones who come up with these laws.
We have a role, but after we pass the law, there's the implementation. And I told you, there's also the interpretation of law, depending on which side you are seated. And so let us look at it and ask ourselves, is the law the problem, or is the interpretation the problem?
Or is the politics of the day the problem?
When we looked at like what happened to Boniface Mwangi, yes, we have these two offices. We have the ODPP, you see? And then there's a DCI. So who had given the charges of terrorism? And what happened when the ODPP went to prosecute? Because there's a department that surely should do the criminal investigation. Before then, the ODPP, as they're going to prosecute, these two departments should work very closely so that they can also discuss before they take a matter to court. Because this one, their role is purely to investigate crime. And the Office of Director of Public Prosecution then goes to prosecute the individual. But is it the person who did the investigation? No. So let each and every office, and that's what I've said, we cannot just leave it to Parliament. We cannot leave it to the President.
Yet it's the laws that are presented. It's the laws that are presented to a court of law to determine whether this person has offended.
The law is very clear. Let the investigators do their work and not follow shortcuts. And then as you go to prosecution, let the prosecution, as they prosecute, be sure of what they are doing.
I have a very burning issue. And this is the double standard of a